I may have made a big mistake. 这个真的是我吃了很多汤包，这个是最好吃的，真的。吃海鲜，
吃海鲜，吃嘎啦，哈啤酒。
Good morning, folks, from Nanjing. Final day in Nanjing. It is time to leave our lovely little, well, it's time to leave our little hotel room behind, get some breakfast, and then explore a chapter of one of the darkest periods in human history, I would say, and one of the events which still leaves massive scars on this country. But we'll leave the dark stuff for a few minutes and we'll go get some breakfast first. 哦，这个退房了。
那好了，2000。
押金单。
押金单红颜色的。
哦，是这个吗？
哦，对，就这个啊。
吃早饭的有没有人吃汤包啊？还是汤包是午饭吃的？
汤包都有啊。
早上也有。都
有，到你要是方便的话，到刘长兴。
什么地方？
刘长兴，这个是我们百年老字号。
是吗？其
实走到鼓楼那半面就有，就是走到大众亭这半面，就是走丹凤街走这条路，直走。我叫他找个刘长兴，还可以那个房间。支付宝给你，还需要现金？
支付宝现金也可以啊。好的，好，谢谢啊。
没事，慢走啊。
Right, checked out of the hotel, got my 100 kwai back deposit for the room. I asked about breakfast if we could get those soup dumplings for breakfast or if it was just a lunch thing. She says, yep, breakfast is fine, but recommended a specific spot. Sadly, I don't think I have time to go to that spot, so I'm just gonna have a look to see if there's any tangbao shops. The reason I asked her is because I've noticed in Nanjing they're bloody everywhere. Like Wuhan has soup dumpling shops as well, but not as many. Here they seem to be on every street corner. Well, I bought myself a coffee, but wouldn't you know it, the one time I'm actually looking for tangbao here in Nanjing, there's no shops that sell them on my little street. I've been walking past them day and night, thinking, nah, don't need to have that. Had that the other day, had that the other day, don't need to have that. This is the time I'm actually looking for them. Anyway, I'll look for a few more minutes, and if nothing, then we'll get something else. Alright, I knew I'd find one. Tangbao across the road. Tangbao.
收钱包到账13元。24。
要不要票给他们吗？还是？Oh, that's definitely the fastest service for tangbao I've ever had. They were pretty much good to go. They must serve a lot of these. In Wuhan, you have to wait. 5 tangbao for 13. That's a little bit more expensive than Wuhan, I think. Add a bit of vinegar and a bit of chili sauce. I feel like the skin of these ones is a little bit sweeter and they're a little bit soupier than the ones I get in Wuhan. Definitely a lot soupier. I might have to get some more. They're really good. Really, really good.
这两年多，是，味道好吧？很好。
我以前吃过汤包，但是没有在南京吃了。
以前吃了，吃了。武汉的汤包也没南京包的好。
对。
收钱包到账13元。
汤包我跟你讲，就南京我们这个汤包特色最有特色。
我发现这个好多地方卖汤包。
对啊，南京汤包就好吃，全部都有。
我真的发现了。
凡是不理外国人喜欢吃包子是很。
Can I say I got a second lot, and I can't count. There's 6, not 5. They're really, really good. The boss was just telling me that his whole family basically does this all over China. They're from Anhui. He said it's their like specialty, so they know what they're doing. It's hard to describe, but these ones just feel, the skin is kind of fluffier. Wuhan soup dumplings, the skin is really paper thin. These ones, the skin is definitely a bit thicker, and it's just got so much more soup in there. It's honestly a taste explosion. I could probably eat more. They're really, really, really good.
你是说南京来是游玩了？
对，我前天都来的，然后吃了，就那个中山陵啊、明孝陵啊那些地方，然后吃了那个鸭血粉啊什么的。
鸭血粉丝啊？
我吃了，但是我应该在你的，我应该来你这里吃。
对啊，你千万记得不要在旅游节点吃。你要这几天有时间到这边吃完鸭血粉丝，你就知道味道怎么样。
是啊。
它的味道绝对比牛区的好吃。
你家店是细面、粗面？
细面是吧？
这个真的是我吃了很多汤包，这个是最好吃的，真的。
让你好吃就行，欢迎下次再来。
谢谢啊。Right, I've just eaten the best soup dumplings in my life, so this is going to seem like a really strange change of topic, but we are heading to a site which is memorialized relating to the events in the 1930s when the Japanese army rolled into Nanjing. And when you're talking about atrocities, literally one of the worst events, I think, in human history. This is the house, folks. Sadly closed. I don't know if you can read the sign, but it's only open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4 p.m. and it says John Rabe, I believe this is German name, my German is not the best, an International Safety Zone Memorial Hall at Nanjing University. Have you heard of John Rabe? He's a bit of an Oscar Schindler style character, but the amount of people he's credited with saving is a ton more than Schindler. Japan ended up invading Shanghai in 1937, which was I think 3-month-long battle for the Japanese to take the city. Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the nationalists, had his best forces, his German trained and equipped forces in Shanghai. So it's being compared to like Stalingrad, just in terms of urban fighting and, you know, a massive time frame for a battle. Now, after the battle for Shanghai, the Japanese army was demoralized and frustrated at their inability to kind of quickly overwhelm the Chinese. They thought that they were going to be able to take Shanghai in just a few days, but 3 months and tens of thousands of casualties proved otherwise. After Shanghai, they set their sights here on Nanjing, which at the time was the capital of the nationalist government, and there was the idea that if you take Nanjing, the Chinese again are going to surrender, sue for peace, there'll be territorial concessions to Japan, and everything will go back to what it was, just with some territorial changes. But that didn't happen. The nationalist government was in the process of moving their capital away from Nanjing, and basically had Nanjing pretty lightly defended with just kind of second-tier troops. So when the Japanese army finally made it here to Nanjing, they made pretty quick work of the defenders and then started a 6-week rampage of atrocities, which has now been termed either the Nanjing Massacre or the Rape of Nanjing. 6 weeks of just some of the absolute worst atrocities you've ever heard of. People being shot, people being bayoneted. We're talking civilians, we're talking women, elderly people, children. Now, during the 6-week massacre of Nanjing, there was this guy, John Rabe, who lived in this house, who was working. He was a Nazi, working for, I think, Siemens, German company, but he'd been living in China for a number of years. He saw what was going on and made it his mission to save as many people as he could. So he set up in this area here what was called the Nanjing Safety Zone, the International Safety Zone, where they would allow people, civilians, disarmed soldiers, to stay here and try to avoid the purge that was going on of the Chinese people. Because the Japanese and the Nazis were having friendly relations at the time, he would drape swastikas all over this area as if to tell the Japanese guys, don't come here, this is kind of off limits. But he did more than that. He would venture out in his full Nazi kit, go and bark orders at these Japanese soldiers, showing them his swastika and telling them to bugger off, and just getting civilians back into the safety zone as much as he could. He's credited with saving 250,000 people. So genuinely, this guy is one of history's heroes. He put his own life on the line to save as many lives as he could, and he didn't get much praise for it during his own lifetime, sadly. He went back to Germany after things had calmed down and was basically arrested for interfering with the actions of Germany's ally, or at least friendly partner. After the war, he was, because he was a prominent Nazi, also arrested by the Allies and lived out the remainder of his life. He died in 1950 in squalor, living off food packages sent to him from grateful Chinese people all the way over to Germany. So yeah, it's a shame we can't go in. I'm sorry I got my days wrong. Most places are open on a Saturday here in China, but this is not one of them. Now, Nanjing also does have a prominent kind of memorial site to the victims of the Nanjing Massacre, but that place has been booked up for weeks. I checked online for the booking schedule days before I even came here to Nanjing, and tickets are sold out, or they're free. They're taken every day. Yeah, like I said, it's a very big scar on the Chinese people, and not one they are likely to forget anytime soon. It still causes big issues with Japan-China relations. I mean, the commander of the army which did these atrocities in Nanjing is still enshrined in that that Shinto shrine over in Japan. So yeah, pretty awful period of history, and sadly part of what Nanjing is known for. But yeah, awful. Time for a change of pace once again. We're going to head to the Presidential Palace, which is potentially my last major stop during this trip to Nanjing. Back there's the first beggar I think I've seen in Nanjing. Gave him a kwai. Down this way is the Presidential Palace. You will have seen from the subway footage, it's incredibly busy today, so we'll see if we can get in. There's people bloody everywhere. Weekends, I've been trying to avoid weekends like the plague.
购票可关注南京总统府官方微信公众号或小程序。请扫码。支付宝收款35元。
Well, I got my ticket. Time for the weekend queue. I may have made a big mistake. Well, that's the longest queue I have waited in thus far, but we are here at the Presidential Palace in Nanjing. 35 yuan to get in. What is that, like $5? Complaint report. Yeah, maybe. About the queue. It's the weekend, it's busy. Right. Let's have a look around. Now, interestingly, the first sign I've come across upon entry to the Presidential Palace is the exit. So hopefully there's more to it than just this courtyard. I'm sure there is. This site itself has a long history of having kind of mansions or other kind of palaces. If you remember back the other day, we talked about the Taiping Rebellion of Hong Xiuquan. He built a palace here when he had his capital here in Nanjing, but it was pretty much destroyed when the Qing forces retook it. And then our man Sun Yat-sen, whose mausoleum we visited, he was sworn in as the president of the new Republic of China right here in this presidential palace. Later, after the warlord era had kind of finished and the nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek were able to set up a new nationalist government, he also based himself here. So yeah, there's been a lot of leaders who used this as their kind of seat of power. There's Sun Yat-sen, and there's the Taiping rebels. Over there in that picture is Chiang Kai-shek, and then in this picture is the post-1949 area, when the PLA managed to take this location. 蛮多人的今天。
蛮多，今天星期六，学生多。你们是去那边的不？
我是刚刚从武汉过来的。
从武汉过来的，哎呦。你们呢？我们是湖南的。
湖南的哦，我都没去过。我听说你们的那个米粉很好吃啊。
常德米粉好吃。
好吃吧？
常德米粉好吃。常德。
你们在南京玩几天啊？
来去5天。
那也差不多。
已经今天10点，明天返回了。
那个中孝陵去过没？
只能下午去。
下午，那人更多吧？
人多那边。
我是昨天去了的，人也蛮多的。
昨天去了，先去了。
对。
好了，中间蛮高不爬的，300多吨不？
还好，对，很多台阶，但是还好，可以坐个小车从那个门口到那个入口，对，还行。
坐小车啊？
有一个10块钱的车，要不然你要走2多公里吧？
走2多公里啊？
对。
知道没得？
夫子庙呢？
夫子庙去。夫子庙就是你就知道吗？
我昨天去了的。也还好，没那么大。
没那么大啊。
那湖南有什么地方好玩呢？
湖南
我都没去过。
湖南张家界还可以啦。六月湖都还可以。六月湖，那个常德张家界。
那个臭豆腐你们吃吗？
臭豆腐啊，长沙臭豆腐有名。
很有名的。
长沙臭豆腐。
你喜欢吃
长沙臭豆腐有名。
吃臭豆腐吗？
我吃过湖南臭豆腐，我也吃过湖北臭豆腐，但是我觉得那个湖南的味道好一些。
味道些啊。我是的味道不同。
我是在武汉吃那个湖南臭豆腐，我不知道是不是地道的，应该有点区别吧。
湖南臭豆腐还有名。我在长沙。
坐一下，我也去逛逛。好，拜拜。That picture's a pretty famous one, much like the photos of World War II Germany, where you saw the Soviet soldiers standing on top of the Reichstag. Here's the PLA soldiers here at the presidential palace. If I'm not mistaken, that's our man Hong Xiuquan of the Taiping Rebellion, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. The secret room of the Heavenly King, place where Hong Xiuquan, the Heavenly King, perused official documents and discussed state affairs relating to the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. So definitely a real big connection with that Taiping Heavenly Kingdom and this city. As I said, it was their capital. And here is the Heavenly Throne. That's a hell of a chair. President's reception room. The loudspeaker keeps saying, guests, please walk and look at the same time. Like, don't stand around. It's supposed to be the most popular spot. There's President Chang. I think we're all heading to the president's office. All of us. Off Office of the Secretary General, Director of the Documentary Bureau, whatever that means. Ooh, there's a nice breeze coming through that room because it is hot. Again, that yelling is, keep moving, keep moving. There's people behind you. Keep going forward. These are some gaudy looking chairs. And this, thankfully I'm on the right hand side of this corridor, is the president's office. There he is. Picture on the wall. Nice sweet desk. Whew. I've seen it. Goodness me. So that's the building we were just in. President's office was, I think, on the second floor. Yeah, pretty crowded. Pretty crowded. Whoa. There he is once again. He must be the most prominent figure in the city. Sun Yat-sen. We've seen him bronze statue, seen him mausoleum. Now here. Remember I mentioned that Sun Yat-sen I felt was like the most prominent figure in this city. He also has a square, Zhongshan Square. I wonder if there's a statue of him. Yes, there is. There's a statue of Dr. Sun Yat-sen, first president of China. And some little kid sitting on the statue. 1866 to 1925. Still really ashamed that that guy died when he died. There are actually some really nice peaceful gardens around here. I would imagine when the government was based here in Nanjing under Chiang Kai-shek, it would have been, or Sun Yat-sen, would have been a nice place to come and chill, have some tea, relax with your thoughts before dealing with the matters of state, but yep, it's full of tourists now, including me. 你们是哪里人呢？
我是青岛。
青岛的？
对。
哦，北方的。
哎，北方的。
我都没去过。
没去过青岛啊？可以去一下。
没有去过，就听说你们的那个啤酒。
啊，对对对，可以去啊。
嗯。夏
天去还凉快。哎，凉快一些。
是吗？
嗯，夏天去凉快。
哦。我老婆是武汉人，那边的夏天太热了。
太热了，我孩子在那个杭州上班，我们都是青岛人嘛。然后孩子在杭州上班。青岛喜欢吃海鲜的话，可以青岛可以去一下。
吃海鲜。嗯，
吃海鲜，吃嘎啦，喝啤酒。
那青岛是辣的吗？还是？
青岛不是辣的。
不吃辣的。
不吃辣，不是也，但是你要是辣炒嘎啦更好吃，是不是？这样的，你喜欢吃辣了吧？
我老婆是武汉人嘛，所以
对，我觉得你也喜欢吃辣了吧？
就习惯了。原来我不喜欢，因为新西兰人也不喜欢吃辣的，但是老婆每次做饭肯定会加一点辣椒嘛。
对对对，对，听老婆的。
对呀，听老婆的就开心嘛，不会有矛盾。那你们是怎么过来的？是坐飞机吗？还是高铁？
高铁。
高铁。
对，高铁。
从
青岛到
青岛到南
杭州。
哦，到青岛杭州。
到杭州住10多天以后，然后孩子这不休息，我们来南京，一大早来的。
杭州
到南京。
杭州到南京很近吗？
很近1个小时。
1个小时啊？
1个小时多一点高铁。
武汉都3个多小时。
从杭州坐地铁的话吧。到青岛是6、7个小时。
哦，那有点远了。
也可以飞，你飞的话2个小时。
哦。
我们因为拿点东西，青岛的特产愿意给孩子拿来，我们一坐高铁。
对，高铁方便吗？
方便。
我也觉得方便。
对。走了。好了。
好，拜拜，慢慢逛。 Well, much like Chiang Kai-shek, I have left the presidential palace, and probably like him, never to return. But yeah, after getting in and a few crowds on the stairs, that was a pretty nice place to visit. Some nice gardens, a bit of history, but no drinks for sale, so make sure you bring your own water. Now I still have about 6 hours left in Nanjing before I get back on the train to Wuhan, so I'm gonna go get some lunch, take this heavy bag off my back, have a wee rest, and who knows, so maybe find one more spot to have a look around, but that's for next time. Now in 1937 tensions escalated once again, just like the tensions between those two cars.